The moment Alexander Mercer told me I was being transitioned out, I knew my contingency protocol had been the right call. His smile never reached his eyes, just like it hadn't all those months he'd been plotting to steal my work. My name is Elena Reyes, and until yesterday, I was the Chief Innovation Officer at Paragon Systems. 2 years ago, I walked away from a lucrative position at Oracle to join this ambitious startup, bringing with me a revolutionary concept that would transform cybersecurity forever. I called it Guardian Protocol, an AI-driven security system capable of identifying and neutralizing network threats before they materialized, adapting in real time to evolving attack patterns. For 22 months, I dedicated my life to this project. 14-hour days, weekends sacrificed, relationships put on hold. My apartment became little more than a place to occasionally sleep between coding sessions. Guardian Protocol wasn't just a project, it was my legacy, my contribution to making the digital world safer. Alexander, Paragon's CEO, would frequently visit my workspace, examining progress reports and offering what I now recognize as calculated encouragement. "This is exceptional work, Elena," he would say, his entrepreneur's charm masking predatory intentions. "The investors are going to be blown away." Last week, Guardian Protocol achieved a critical breakthrough. During testing, it successfully intercepted and neutralized a complex multi-vector cyber attack simulation without any human guidance. More impressively, it identified vulnerability chains I hadn't explicitly programmed it to recognize. The system was evolving beyond its original parameters, learning, adapting, improving itself. Elated by the results, I immediately requested a meeting with Alexander. His executive assistant, Daniela, scheduled me for a brief slot the following afternoon. When I arrived at his minimalist corner office, I found not only Alexander waiting but also Victoria Lang, the company's legal counsel. "Please sit down." Alexander gestured toward the chair opposite his glass desk. "Victoria is just here as standard procedure." Something in his tone sent warning signals through my mind. I took my seat, still clutching my laptop, with the demonstration ready to go. "Before we discuss Guardian Protocol," Alexander continued, sliding a document across the polished surface, "we need to clarify some aspects of your employment agreement." Victoria leaned forward slightly. "Section 17.2 of your contract explicitly states that all intellectual property developed using company resources becomes the exclusive property of Paragon Systems." I nodded slowly, already seeing where this was heading. I understand standard IP clauses, but Guardian Protocol was conceptualized prior to my employment here. I have documented evidence of this. Victoria's expression remained impassive. "While you may have had a rudimentary concept, the functional system was developed here at Paragon, using Paragon's resources and infrastructure." Alexander's friendly facade was rapidly dissolving. "Let's be direct, Elena. Guardian Protocol belongs to Paragon Systems. The board feels your compensation package is quite generous considering industry standards." "Compensation package?" I echoed, tension building in my chest. His thin smile returned. "Your contract includes a performance bonus. You'll receive $350,000 upon Guardian Protocol's successful launch. That's substantially above market rate for similar positions." The figure hung in the air between us, $350,000 for a system that would generate billions. For thousands of hours of innovation. For my intellectual creation. "Tomorrow," Alexander continued, seemingly oblivious to my mounting anger, "I'll be presenting Guardian Protocol to our major investors. We anticipate securing an additional $90 million in funding before announcing Paragon's breakthrough cybersecurity solution to the market." I gripped the armrests of my chair. "You're terminating my employment," Victoria sighed audibly. "We're implementing a leadership transition, effective immediately. With your bonus, of course." "Congratulations on completing the project, Elena." Alexander's expression betrayed his satisfaction. A predator who believed his trap had sprung perfectly. What he didn't realize was that I had anticipated this betrayal months ago. 8 months earlier, I had discovered unauthorized access to my development servers after hours. Nothing was taken, but the intrusion triggered a silent alert I had embedded in the system. From that moment, I'd been quietly building safeguards, not just against external threats, but internal ones as well. I maintained a neutral expression as I handed over my company laptop. I understand, Mr. Mercer. Good luck with tomorrow's investor presentation. Security personnel escorted me to my office, monitoring closely as I packed my personal belongings into a cardboard box. I walked out of the building carrying that box like countless terminated employees before me, except I wasn't leaving empty-handed. That evening, I didn't panic or plot immediate revenge. Instead, I ordered Thai food, watched 2 episodes of a mindless reality show, and waited. At 9:45 p.m., my phone rang. "Alexander wants to see you," Daniela said, without preamble. "He says it's urgent. A car is already on its way." 45 minutes later, I was back at Paragon's headquarters, being escorted to the main conference room. Alexander sat alone at the long table, his normally immaculate appearance distinctly disheveled. His tie hung loosely, his designer shirt was wrinkled, and visible stress lines had formed across his forehead. "Fix it," he demanded the moment the door closed behind me. I took my time settling into a chair. "Fix what, exactly?" "Don't play games, Elena," he hissed. "You sabotaged the demo." I raised an eyebrow. How could I possibly have done that? I've been gone for hours. Security watched me leave. I didn't take any devices or access any systems. Alexander slammed his fist onto the table. The test run crashed catastrophically. The system started identifying non-existent threats, generating thousands of false positives, and compiling strange reports about internal ethical violations. "It's completely dysfunctional." "Sounds like a technical issue," I replied calmly. "Have you tried rebooting the system?" His face flushed dark with anger. "This isn't amusing, Elena. We have 15 major investors arriving tomorrow. There's $90 million at stake." "Your investors," I corrected him. "Your presentation." Alexander inhaled deeply, visibly forcing himself to regain composure. When he spoke again, his voice had returned to that persuasive tone that had convinced so many people, myself included, to trust him. "Perhaps we were hasty this afternoon," he conceded. "I'm prepared to discuss a more equitable arrangement, co-creator recognition, a substantially larger compensation package, even significant equity in the company." I reclined slightly in my chair. "What exactly happened during the test run?" Alexander hesitated, clearly weighing how much to reveal. The system turned against itself. It began flagging Paragon's own network components as potential threats. Then it started generating hundreds of reports documenting what it called internal ethical breaches. I couldn't suppress a smile. Guardian Protocol is designed to identify threats, Alexander. All threats. Understanding dawned in his eyes. "You programmed it to spy on us?" "I designed it to recognize malicious activity regardless of its source," I explained. During development, I incorporated case studies of various cyber attacks, including scenarios where threats originated from inside organizations. The color drained from Alexander's face as he realized the system wasn't malfunctioning. It had identified Paragon itself, or more specifically him, as a security risk. "You can't prove anything," he said, his voice hardening. "I don't need to," I replied evenly. Guardian Protocol has been documenting everything for months. Every unauthorized access, every copied file, every modified document. It's all meticulously compiled in those reports, complete with timestamps, access logs, and recorded keystrokes. A heavy silence filled the room. Alexander stared at me, the anger in his eyes gradually transforming into calculation. "What do you want?" he finally asked. I placed my hands flat on the table. Full recognition as Guardian Protocol's creator and primary architect. 50% ownership of all related patents and intellectual property. A permanent board position to oversee its ethical implementation. And $12 million in compensation for your attempt to push me out. His jaw tightened. "That's extortion." "No," I corrected him. "That's negotiation." Extortion would be sending those reports directly to the investors and the Securities and Exchange Commission. Alexander glared at me for a long moment before his shoulders gradually slumped in defeat. "The system," he said, his voice strained. "Can you fix it before tomorrow's presentation?" Guardian Protocol doesn't need fixing, I explained. It just needs proper authorization. Currently, it's flagging commands as unauthorized because its creator, me, was removed from the authentication chain. I reached into my pocket, removed a small USB drive, and placed it on the table between us. This contains an authentication update that will resolve the immediate issues, I said. Consider it a gesture of good faith toward our new partnership. The formal contracts can be prepared tomorrow. Alexander stared at the drive, then back at me. And if I refuse? Then Guardian Protocol remains compromised, I said simply. Your investor presentation fails, and those internal breach reports find their way to some very interested parties. For a moment, I thought he might resist, but then with a resigned exhalation, he reached for the drive. You planned this from the beginning, he muttered. I smiled. No. I hoped it wouldn't be necessary, but after discovering unauthorized access to my secure server 8 months ago, I built in protections for the system and for myself. His eyes narrowed. How did you know I'd try to eliminate you? I stood, collecting my bag. I didn't, I admitted. But Guardian Protocol is designed to recognize patterns and predict threats before they materialize. I suppose some of that rubbed off on its creator. The next morning, I returned to Paragon Systems as the newly appointed co-founder and chief technology officer. Alexander introduced me to the investors with a smile that looked physically painful. The demonstration proceeded flawlessly, with Guardian Protocol neutralizing every simulated attack with remarkable precision. One impressed investor turned to Alexander with an eager question. Incredible system. What inspired its development? Alexander hesitated just long enough for me to savor the moment, then reluctantly answered. It was actually Elena's vision from the beginning. Paragon simply provided the environment for that vision to flourish. As I fielded technical questions, my phone discreetly vibrated with a notification. Guardian Protocol authentication restored. Threat neutralized. System integrity secured. Creator protections active. The AI was learning faster than I'd anticipated, identifying threats, neutralizing them, and safeguarding itself, precisely as designed. 4 months later, Guardian Protocol had its first major commercial implementation, preventing a sophisticated cyber attack on an international financial network. The incident, which analysts estimated could have resulted in damages exceeding $400 million, immediately established Guardian Protocol as the new standard in cybersecurity. Alexander and I maintained a strictly professional relationship. He focused on business development, where his networking skills were legitimately valuable, while I led technical innovation, where my expertise remained irreplaceable. We weren't friends and never would be, but we had reached a functional equilibrium. Sometimes I wondered if I should have taken a different approach, pursued legal action, fought a prolonged court battle. But ultimately, I had created something too sophisticated to be stolen, and I had ensured that no one, especially not Alexander Mercer, could control it without me. His attempted betrayal had revealed something far more significant than corporate greed. Technology is only as ethical as those who control it. This realization became fundamental to how we deployed Guardian Protocol. Every implementation now includes robust ethical guardrails and transparency protocols to prevent misuse. The system doesn't just protect networks, it protects itself and its users from exploitation. Last month, as we celebrated Guardian Protocol's successful IPO, valuing the company at $5.8 billion, a young programmer approached me at the reception. "What's the secret to creating something so revolutionary?" she asked, her eyes bright with ambition. I smiled. "It's not about the code," I told her. "It's about understanding that the greatest security threats often come from where you least expect them." The real achievement wasn't just creating the technology, it was ensuring it could adapt, evolve, and defend itself without compromising its core integrity. Build systems that can recognize threats, adapt to them, and neutralize them while maintaining their ethical foundation, I said. The programmer nodded thoughtfully as I glanced at my phone, where a quiet notification from Guardian Protocol appeared. System integrity secured. Threat neutralized. Protections active. Just as it was designed to do. Just as its creator had learned to do. I'd love to hear from you after sharing my experience. After facing betrayal, being underestimated, and nearly erased from my own creation, I emerged stronger, wiser, and in control of my destiny. But I didn't accomplish this alone. I relied on my experience, instincts, and the determination to stand up for what was rightfully mine. What would you have done in my position? Would you have pursued legal action, taken the company to court, or walked away to start fresh? Do you believe I made the right decision by turning the tables on Alexander and securing my rightful place at Paragon? Share your thoughts, advice, or personal experiences with workplace betrayals and standing up for yourself. More importantly, I hope you take something valuable from this story. If there's one lesson I've learned, it's this: you must protect what you build, whether it's your career, ideas, or personal boundaries. You are your own primary defender. Never assume others will act honorably simply because you do. Prepare for the worst while positioning yourself for the best. Consider your own life. Are there areas where you need to establish boundaries, demand recognition, or protect your work? Perhaps it's in your career, a personal relationship, or a project you've invested your heart in. Whatever it is, don't allow someone else to claim credit for what you've created. So, here's my challenge to you. Stand up for yourself. Share your thoughts, leave a comment, and let's begin a conversation about protecting what belongs to us.